book 5, The Order of the Phoenix, because I know there's a ton. I had not realized how many were in the Goblet of Fire. I did not realize how many differences there were. Okay. So to start, like, this is my list. It's these two and this, and I know I skipped some, like, and it's still really long. Okay, so let's start. So it actually starts with you're hearing about previous murders that happened. So the guy who gets killed in the beginning, like that what's his name? The guy that gets killed, Wormtail kills him, or I think when the snake, I know in the movie the snake eats him, but like when that whole thing happens, I'm pretty sure he's, anyways, killed by not the snake. But when that happens, you actually hear about a lot of previous murders that happen. Okay. Bertha Jorgens is also missing, and which is very relevant to different parts of the story. I don't know if it's mentioned then or not. I think it is. I think that's why it's at the top. I tried to do these mostly in order, so I'm wondering why that's at top. But she wasn't mentioned. Okay, so when it gets to in the movie, it starts like you don't get to see the Dursleys at all. So it starts with Harry at the Dursleys' house when he has this dream, and he sends Sirius a letter. Like, he's like, I don't want to tell Ron because this is gonna be his reaction. I don't want to tell Hermione. This will be her reaction. He decides to tell Sirius. So, sorry, I'm trying to mark this. So he tells Sirius about the dream, and Sirius says, we'll eventually send him a letter, but I'm going to say in the letter it says, if I forget to mention this, if you have another bad dream like that, tell Dumbledore. So, Sirius, but yeah, so it starts at the Dursleys' house, and they get mail in the, like, the Weasleys deliver mail through the post office, delivering mail through the mailbox, and ask if they can take Harry, my dog, Harry, for to go to the tournament. And they're like, send it through the normal way, the owl. So they do say yes, but the Weasleys actually say that even if they don't say yes, they like send Harry a separate letter saying even if they don't say yes that they're gonna take him, just would rather do it with permission. So he gets a yes, he gets to go. Oh, also the Dursleys, they're like starving them, like, because Dudley's so big he can't eat. They're like starving them. I don't know how important that is, but it is something I don't think is well, obviously the book like doesn't, or the movie doesn't show the Dursleys, but yeah, they're like starving him, so he like sent a bunch of food, like he told his friends and stuff, were like, send food, so they sent food, he hid it. Anyways, so he gets to go to the tournament, and before they go like to the Weasley's house, and you meet Charlie and Bill, which Bill's the oldest, Charlie's the next oldest. He's the dragon. He's also mentioned in the first book. Like, they meet to give him Norbert, the dragon. I think it's Norbert, because I think they call it Norbetta when they find out it's a girl. But they give them he gets to meet both of them, Bill and Charlie. And this is also the first time the twins' shop is mentioned. So in the movies, the 5th book, they have like some cool trick things and candies, but like they have a whole shop planned out, and you start to see it in the 4th one, or in the 4th book. Also, Percy is not in the movie in this movie at all, but his character arc really starts here of working for the ministry, wanting to be in the ministry, wanting to be so involved and everything like that. Percy working for Crouch specifically is important, but like in general, he is not like in the movies, and that's a big thing for this. It's really his starting point to what happens in the 5th one, which is also kind of not in the movie that much, but okay. So then going to the tournament, the Quidditch tournament, so they do still meet Cedric, the Degrees, the dad, and they go to the port key. Cedric's dad, I wrote Amos. I think it's Amos Degree. My handwriting is not the best. Amos Degree, he like brags a lot on said with Cedric, because in the 3rd one, the only game that Harry lost of Quidditch was against Cedric, when he like falls off the broom because of the things that give the death's kiss. I'm sorry, it's late, but this is the only time I have to video. But Amos is like bragging that his son's so much better to Harry's face, and Cedric's like, will you stop? But so yeah, they get to meet them there, and they do meet them, but it's like a lot. It's obnoxious to a point. You get to see like a lot of people at the tournament, like different people they talk to. One person they talk to is Oliver Wood, and he's like graduated last and he maybe, I don't know, because he's in the 4th one, I think. I don't know if he's in the 4th one, but he's like he's a national Quidditch, like he's a professional Quidditch player, not national, professional Quidditch player. He's a professional Quidditch player. So, okay, something else. So to Crouch, they make a bet. I think it's to Crouch. The twins make a bet. They bet all their savings because they're trying to make this joke shop. So they're like, we need more money. So they bet their savings on to Crouch that Ireland will win, that who's the Durmstrang guy? I'm sorry, guys. I am totally blanking on names. And I know, like, everybody watching this video is screaming it at me right now. Victor Crumb. I don't know why I had to look that up. That Victor Crumb will catch the snitch, but Ireland will win because he's not with Ireland. And that does happen. Okay. So, also something that happens is in the movie, sorry, it looked like it wasn't recording for a second. In the movie, they're going to the top of the stage, like, and they see the Malfoys and they make fun of them for it. So that actually is, like, there's the top box that's the best seating. The Weasleys are there, and Draco and them are there. Yeah, I don't know why. You also meet Winky, who is a house elf, who's completely out of this book, and it's so annoying because spew is like, I feel like it's such a big thing, and the movies just completely ignore it. But anyways, You meet Winky. It's a house elf. She's Barty Crouch's house elf. Yeah. And she comes into play again later. But you meet her. She's terrified. Hermione's like, you're not treated right. Okay. So then so after the tournament, the Death Eaters are coming out. They're attacking people, being like bullying them. And all the kids run. The twins stay with Ginny, and Harry, Hermione, and Ron go together. In the movie, Harry gets like knocked out for a second, and he's like separated. They're together the whole time in the book. And they also meet Draco, and he's like, because they're like, oh, Hermione, like, we gotta get out of here. But the dad kind of made a comment about Hermione specifically needs to get out of there. And they meet Draco while they're running. And he's like, oh, well, you're a mudblood. And it's the Death Eaters are going after mudbloods and like doing horrible things to them. That's part of the reason they need to get out. And that is when Draco kind of gives hints that his dad's part of it. Then the Dark Mark. So the Dark Mark is shown in the sky. This happens in both, but in the movie it's shown after the whole thing happens with all of that. Like once it's stopped is when that happens. In the book, it happens, and that's why the Death Eaters like run, because they think that's Voldemort's "He Who Must Not Be Named" symbol, and they think he came back. And like some of them are terrified if he comes back, because some of them stayed out of jail by putting others in jail, and they're like, oh, I won't be welcomed anymore, or we didn't go look for him after. Okay. So after all this, Rita Skeeter is actually mentioned. Like they get back to, well, okay, the whole thing actually, before I get into that, of finding, so Ron's wand goes, or Harry's wand goes missing. I don't have Harry's wand, but I have Sirius's. I got Sirius wand right here. Okay, Sirius's wand, Harry Potter's wand goes missing, and they start to kind of try to trace their back. They see the whole light thing, and I want to say they see the person, they're like, it was a guy, they saw something. And when they go, like, Crouch is like, oh, I'll go look, and he sees Winky. And he like fires Winky because she didn't stay at the tent like she was told. And then she's holding Harry's wand. Wow. She's holding Harry's wand. She can't make a spell. They're like, you can't. And she was like, I didn't make the spell. I just found it. But she's like crying, upset because like you see Dobby do in the second one, they beat themselves up when they've done something wrong. But she's like, I wasn't the one doing it, but she's still like upset, beating herself up. Crouch fires her because of what went wrong, the fact that she didn't stay and that this whole debacle happened. Okay. She's not in the movie, so in the movie, they just don't find it. They find his wand, or maybe his wand didn't even go missing. I think the wand went missing. Anyways, the whole thing happens. So after the Dark Magic happens, so they go back to okay, yeah, it's still videoing. They go back to the burrow, like where Ron's family is the Weasley's house. And they talk about Rita Skeeter wrote an article about Arthur's like mentioned in it that what the ministry said. But they discuss how Rita always makes everything sound awful, and she's awful writer, and she makes everything seem bad. Next thing that's important, like some other stuff happens, but I'm trying to hit like the most important things that don't happen in the book, that do happen in the book, don't happen in the movie. So then the same day that they're gonna go to the station, the train, Dad gets Arthur, Ron's dad, Arthur, gets a message from the fireplace, like a head pops out, fireplace message. I know it happens later in the movies, but that Mad Eye, something happened. Mad Eye needs help. There's an intruder, and Mad Eye is like known to make, like, he thinks people are after him all the time because he was a really good aura. And the whole thing of him being an aura is all explained. But Arthur goes to help them while the others take them to the platform. Also, so before they go to the platform, so Molly had bought everybody their things. And when Ron is looking at some of the stuff, he notices the dress robes he got. And they're like really ugly, horrible looking, and he was like, what are these? And she's like, oh, you're gonna need them for something, you needed extra robes. And he was like, I ain't wearing these, but anyways. So the whole getting the robes thing. So they go to the platform. Not too much is important there. I think that's when Harry tells Ron and Hermione about the dream. He might have told them before that, but I know he so they go to the platform. Bill, Charlie, Percy decides not to go. Percy is like continually going to the ministry to help. He's like, Barty Crouch needs all the help he can get. I'm going to be Barty Crouch's favorite. So, platform, Bill, Charlie go, and Molly, and they like drop everybody off, and they keep giving hints about the Triwizard Tournament and the U-Ball. Like they're giving hints, but they're not saying it. So they get to Hogwarts, and when they're going in, so the Sorting Hat. So every year, the first years go to the Sorting Hat, get it placed on their head, say what house they're in. Harry saw it the first year. The second year, him and Ron had gotten in trouble with the car. Like, I think they were even late. But the whole car thing, they missed the ceremony. Third year, Harry gets taken out because I know why Hermione gets taken out, so she can get that locket. Why did Harry get taken out of the third year? Oh, because he like had the things came. Why can't I think of the things guarding the prison? Like Azkaban, the Dementors. Yeah. The Dementors came, and so he was like eating chocolate, getting better. Didn't get to see that one. So, fourth one is the second sorting he's actually been to, and he's like, oh, the hat is singing a different song. And they were like, yeah, they sing a different song every year. Okay. In the book, people, the like Durmstrang people and Beauxbaton people come the same day. They actually, in the movie, do not come till the day before Halloween or the day after. the day before. They don't come till the day before Halloween. So, you see some classes beforehand. One of the classes you see with Moody telling them about the 3 different curses. So, he doesn't actually, Ron raises his hand. Ron's ready to tell him about the Imperious Curse. That's the one where they control the spider. And so, in the movie, when you see him do it, you see him, moving his wand around, directing the spider. And that's more like Leviocorpus, controlling it while moving her wand. In the book, he just says the spell and then he just tells the spider what to do. He's not directing it, he's just telling them what to do. And then Hermione, the Avada Kedavra. I cannot pronounce that spell. Okay, I'm sorry. I just can't. But so that spell, she just says it. She says it first. She's not freaked out, not worried about, because I think in the movie she doesn't even say it. Or Moody says it first and he's like, Harry's the only one person's ever lived through it, and that's Harry. Oh, I just want to say, okay, so here's my Harry doll. Here's the scar in the lightning scar. But in the Hogwarts Legacy game, when you learn the Avada spell, it's you do this with your wand. And I think that's why his scar is the lightning bolt. At least that's what they made it. I don't know. I thought it was cool though. Anyway, so controlling the spider, I said that one. Okay, so when the people come, the whole turning Malfoy into a ferret does happen in the books. It happens close to the beginning. I think it happens in the first week though. It's not later on. It was funny. It was funny. It was still funny and everything, but yeah, it happens earlier on. So, when Durmstrang and Beauxbaton people come, it makes it look like it's an all-boys school and an all-girls school. It wasn't. There was a mix. Don't know why they did that, but it was a mix of both genders. Trying to think. Oh, they also didn't have all the dancing and marching. They just met. There wasn't the big introduction. And when you don't see in the movies, it was cut, but you can, I know for some reason when it's on Peacock, you can watch that. When it's on the Peacock app, you can see deleted scenes. And when it's on Max, you can't. But that was one of them. They showed they show Hogwarts singing. That also didn't happen in the books. Okay. So the Hagrid is fancy over the Beauxbaton headmistress, and he does his hair slick back, and he's trying to be nicely dressed, and it's funny. Okay. So the first time they go to Hogsmeade, when the name gets in the Goblet the name's in the Goblet of Fire. I don't know why I didn't write any of this part down. But maybe because I thought I'd just remember it, which I guess I did. So, when they're putting in the names, all of that, so the twins take the polyjuice potion, so does their friend. They're one friend that he does a lot of things with him in the books, and I don't even know if he's in the movies. I can't think of the friend's name though. But he actually takes the aging potion with them, but he doesn't cross the line. And whenever that happens, like they do look old, that whole thing happens, they get out. They don't fight, and they're like laughing about it with Dumbledore. Like Dumbledore shows up and he's like, "Oh yeah, this person tried that too. You can go get de-aged." Whatever. No big deal. And I think they actually get their name in the fire and it doesn't like spit it out. I don't know. But yeah. So they get thrown out. So when Harry gets called, of course everybody always talks about the meme where it's Dumbledore says it calmly, and in the movie he like freaks out. So it was calmly, which is very important. There are multiple times you see in the fifth or in the fourth movie, you see him freak out. Every single time you see that, it is not in the book. In the book, he is very calm, and it's important because at the end, a freak out does happen. But he's super calm the whole time. But, so, Harry got called. Ron does get mad. Hogsmeade happens. They're going to go to Hogsmeade, but Harry is getting made, like, everybody hates him except the Gryffindors. Because Hufflepuff's mad because it's supposed to be Cedric's. Hufflepuff's usually not picked for anything, so they're like, this is Cedric's moment. This is a Hufflepuff moment. And of course, everybody else is mad. So when they go to Hogsmeade, he's like, I don't want to go, or I'm tired of people like calling me names. I'm going with the invisibility cloak. So he goes with the invisibility cloak, and that's when you see that like Mad-Eye can see him through the invisibility cloak. He talks to him. So first task. In the book, the first task is like crazy. All the things that happen with the dragon getting off and no one helping. Like the dragon people also finding out about the dragons happens differently. But anyways, so Charlie drops off the dragons, and when Harry is fighting the dragon in the movie, sorry guys, it's such a long video. In the movie, like the chain breaks and all of that's happening. In the book, it's not as crazy. Like if the chain had broken, it would have been done. The dragon people who like brought the dragons, they were there and like they would have interfered. Like they were there in case something happened and they needed to interfere. So first task was not as crazy. Right after the first task, they go up. Oh, wait. Oh, another thing. So while they're still fighting, while Ron and Harry are still fighting, Hermione and Harry get in an argument with Draco and them. And Draco hits a spell the same time as Harry hits a spell. Harry's spell hits at Crabbe or Goyle. I think Crabbe. And Draco's spell hits Hermione. And it makes Hermione's teeth grow really big. Ron and Harry actually hit one of the guys because they both hit. And it's like the one time they think they might make it up. They got detention. But like, I want to say the book, there are already hints about Ron and Hermione liking each other. The movie doesn't do a good job with that. There's already hints in, I think, the third movie. But, like, even in the second movie, he defends her pretty big. But, yeah. So, happens in the first, or it happened, they attack at the same time. Snape. Why everybody loves Snape. If you only watch the movies, I get the Snape love, like, he's not horrible. He was playing both sides. Like, he was a good guy in the end. If you read the books, you usually don't think that, because in the books, he's the bully to the students that are not Slytherin. And so Ron and Harry get detention. And they're like, but he also hit Hermione, and her teeth are huge. And he's like, they don't look any different. Okay. So that happened before the first task, because so right after the first task is when Harry and Ron finally make up. I think it's at the tent, the nursing, I think he goes to the nurse to get help, if I'm correct. And he was like, okay, obviously you didn't put yourself in the goblet. That was crazy. And they make up. Hermione cried. So, Rita Skeeter wants to interview Hagrid, and she tries to get like dirt on Harry, and he will not give it to her. Like, he's like, no, Harry's great. Harry's this. He's only giving her compliments. The kitchen. Hermione and them go to the kitchen, and they meet Winky and Dobby there. And Dobby's like, oh yeah, he pays me. I get to call him names if I want. Not that I do. Winky's still upset. But this is when... This might actually be after Hermione decides to make Spew. Spew... Trying to think of what it stands for. SPEW. Hey guys. Okay. So Hermione decides to make Spew. It's Society for Promotion of Elvish Welfare. And it's to help elves, because she's like, they need to be treated better, they need pay, they need vacation days, they can't be treated like this. Like, she's like, they're not slaves, they can't be treated like that, and all these things. So the elves don't actually like they're like under the minds of that they can't have that. They're not like worthy. They're like, oh no, we're happy, we don't want it, like, this is what we want. So they go to the kitchen, they're talking to Dobby, he's explaining all this, and she's just trying to convince Winky and all of them that they need to protest and they need to fight, and they're like, no, we don't want to. So the kitchen, that happens. Okay. So it gets to the Yule Ball, Christmas, and they're supposed to ask someone to dance with them or go to the ball with them and everything. So in the movie, you just kind of see when Ron asks Hermione, she's like, maybe you should have asked me. Someone else already asked me. Maybe you should have asked me before somebody else did, and not as a last resort. So, like, it's like this whole flip out. But the thing is, he asked Fleur before Hermione, and that's why Hermione's upset. I still feel like it's a little overdramatic, but that's why she's upset that he asked others before before he asked her. Okay. So then, also when Harry asks Cho, it was actually different. Like, she was with a group of people in the hallway. He tries to get her alone. It wasn't at the owlery. Okay, so then we have Pavarti and Lavender. So he walks up to them. Harry walks up to them and's like, hey, so it's the Pavarti sisters in the movie. But in the book, one of the Pavarti twins is Ravenclaw. One is Gryffindor. I was about to say Hufflepuff. One's Gryffindor. So he walks up to Pavarti, that's a Gryffindor. And he walks up to Lavender Brown. And he's like, hey, Pavarti, will you go with me? Lavender, will you go with Ron? And Lavender's like, oh, I already am going with someone. And he was like, oh, okay. Pavarti, do you know someone else who could go with her? And she was like, I could ask my sister. I think she would go. So that's how they get the dates. So Hermione, when the ball happens, Hermione, in the movie, she has a pink dress, and like they see her at the stairs. In the book, she wears a blue dress, which I don't get why they changed. Like, I know they said they thought Hermione looked really good in pink and that was her color and that's why they changed it. I disagree. I think, like, Emma Watson, I've seen her wear blue. I think that is her color. That's why I'm like, why'd they change it? Blue is, like, she looks amazing in blue. I mean, she's browner hair, so, like, any color works. But it's a little reddish. Like, it's not red, but has a little bit of red in it. I feel like there's, like, a tint of red in Emma Watson's hair. So when she wears pink, I just felt like it was too much on her hair. But anyways, people liked it. She should have been in a blue dress. Okay. And that is when Harry learns that Cho went with Cedric. She only knows that that she already had a date. He did not know she was going with Cedric. So, so he's mad, and like when Cedric tells him like you should take the egg and go get a bath, he like doesn't want to take the advice because he's like he's the enemy now because he was with Cho. But anyways, that is part of it. So he like refuses to take the advice. Okay. So after, like, during the party, during the ball, Ron and Harry go outside and they're listening, like, to things around them. They're hearing a conversation with, the Durmstrang headmaster and Snape, and they're talking about the death mark, but the dark mark. But I think they're talking about that. But they also hear Hagrid telling what's Fleur Delacour's the other giant, Madam I can't think of her name. Madam Maxine and Hagrid. And Hagrid's like telling her about how he's also half giant, and he's like, who's of your giants? And she's like, I'm not half giant, I just have large bones. So they're like, Hagrid's half giant? Like, neither of them were aware of this. And they're like, why is that such a bad thing? And Ron explains that, like, being giant's not good. And, like, the stigma. Maybe even Hermione. Yeah, I think he explains that. So, that's just, like, completely cut out. Okay. Then, they go to Hogsmeade later that week. And in Hogsmeade, Hermione sees Rita Skeeter And she like yells at her. And Ron's like, don't take her off. She's just gonna write bad stuff about you. Like, don't do it. Don't start this. And she was like, oh, I'll get her. And she's like, she went after her. Okay. So Harry finally was like, okay, I need to figure out this egg thing. I'm just going to take Cedric's advice. And he goes to the, he decides to go to the bath, and he finally figures it out when he's leaving. So he has the map, Marauders map, that shows everybody, and he sees Crouch, and he's like, how is Crouch here? And he sees him near Snape's office. So he starts to head that way, and he gets stopped by, like, he gets his foot stuck and drops the egg. Mr. Felch is like wanting to get, he thinks it's the ghost. I'm blinking on that ghost's name's Creeves. No. The ghost that's, Preeves. It's not Percy, but it's like, why am I blanking? I am so sorry, guys. The ghost. And then Snape comes and he's like, oh, that's Harry's. Like, that's his egg. That's his Peeves. Peeves is the ghost. And so Felch thinks it's the ghost. Snape's like, that's Harry's egg. That's his paper. Like, he remembered seeing that paper last year when Lupin stopped them. And then Mad-Eye comes out and he's like, oh, what's this? And he can see Harry through his eyeglass. So he can see Harry, and Harry's like trying to signal that the paper is his because he was about to hand it to one of them. He takes the egg. He was like, I'm going to return this. Calm down. He takes the egg. He finds the paper. He almost hands it to one of them like, oh, you dropped my paper. But Harry's signaling that it's his paper. So Mad-Eye finally gets Filch and Snape to leave. And he's like, Harry, like, get yourself unstuck. What are you doing? What's this paper? And he explains the paper, and he explains how he saw Crouch. And Mad-Eye's like, oh, I'll look into this. Can I use this paper? And of course Harry really likes it, but he doesn't want to lose it, so he's like get in trouble. So he's like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. Okay. So get to the second task. And so in the movie, like once they jump in the movie, Harry like finds the mer people who are guarding let's go back. Okay. In the movie, when he's trying to figure out who gave him like how to be underwater for a long period of time, in the movie, Neville is the one who gives him the idea. He's like, oh yeah, Mad-Eye gave me this book at the beginning of the year. You can eat the gillyweed. And he like comes up with it the next day and everything. In the book, so Neville actually was given the gillyweed, the books that had the gillyweed option in it. However, in the book, Dobby is the one who helps him. He says he heard them, like, Dobby is the one to tell him about the gillyweed. Dobby's the one who get it for him, and he steals it from Snape's office. Okay. So in the second task, he has the gillyweed from Dobby. He jumps in. the reason he was able to find the mer people so fast was Moaning Myrtle helped. She like was in the water and she told him where to go. She didn't help this because it's like, how did, like, no one understands how he did it so quickly. That's how. I already talked about that. Oh, and they were actually inside the time limit, or like a minute off. It wasn't as, like, they were like, oh, Harry was so far out of time. He actually was like maybe a minute off, or he was inside the time. I don't know what that says. Okay. So in the movie, I don't remember who tells them about Barty Crouch, like his whole backstory. I think you only find out in The Pensive. Maybe someone tells them. In the book, you hear a lot more from Sirius, and actually they go to see him. Like, he comes back to Hogwarts to be close by, and he's in the Shrieking Shack, and they meet him when they have a Hogsmeade visit and bring him food, and that's how they find out about Barty Crouch and Barty Crouch Jr. and everything, or a lot of it, like how he died and everything. Easter, okay, so after the second task, I forgot about this. Sorry. I'm trying to do it in order, but my notes are not that great. So, after the second task, it was because I couldn't read the note. After the second task, Rita Skeeter writes another news article about Hermione and how she broke Harry's heart and started seeing I know everybody's screaming at me of who they saw. Crumb, and how she started dating Crumb, and how Crumb even asked her to go away or to visit him in the summer. The paper comes out, and of course, like, they didn't, and that's when Hermione's like, how did Rita Skeeter know he only asked me right after the second task. No one was around. She's not even allowed on the premise anymore after the first article Dumbledore told her to get out. Rita Skeeter also wrote how Hagrid was a giant, and like the whole scandal came out in the article, and he like quit teaching for a while and like hid in his hut. After that, Hermione goes and yells at him. Dumbledore was there. They all convince him he needs to go back. And Hermione's already like, how does she know this? So when the second thing came out, I think it came out at the same time. She's like, I'm coming at her. I don't know how she knows this. I don't know what's going on, but she knows. Okay. So Easter comes. When Easter comes, sorry, I thought I heard something. So when Easter comes, Molly sends everyone like an egg, Harry and Ron giant eggs and everything, and she sends Hermione a really little one, and Ron's like, oh, she probably reads Rita Skeeter, or I think Hermione asked, she's like, does she read the Rita Skeeter article? He's like, yeah, probably. She probably believed it. Okay. So, the dream. Harry I don't know if he even faints, but you go to, go in his not transfiguration. The class, the crazy teacher, where you see like the future, when he goes to that class, he has with Trelawney. Is it divinations? With Trelawney. He passes out. He has a dream. And Sirius said, the next time you have a dream, go straight to Dumbledore. Okay. So, right after that happens, and he's like, oh, I had a crazy dream. My scar hurts. He says all this. He notices the window's open. Okay. So, he goes to Dumbledore's office. He has to guess the password. He, just gives a bunch of things. So, he goes to tell Dumbledore. Once they leave, he finds the pensive. Harry finds the pensive. He goes in. He sees different memories of Dumbledore's, and in one of them, he finds out Longbottom's parents were they're not dead. They were tortured. They don't remember Harry, and Harry or they don't remember Neville. And while Harry's hearing all this, he's thinking, wow, I'm glad that's not. I'm for once feel worse for Longbottom than me about my story. Anyways. Okay. So that happens. Oh, when he tells Dumbledore about his dream, Dumbledore is like, yeah, and did you have any other dreams besides that? Have you had any other dreams besides the one in the summer? And Harry just kind of looks at him, and he was like, you don't think you're the only one talking to Padfoot? And they realized that he was also talking to Sirius. So, okay. Another Rita Skeeter article comes out, and it's how Harry has crazy dreams and how his scar hurts, and she makes up more lies. I'm trying to think. She tries to paint him as crazy. And they are still trying to figure out how in the world she knows this. How is she finding all this out? So, third task is coming. Day before, or a couple days before, they go out and all the contestants get to see the maze. And they're explained how they're going to make a maze. You have to go through it. In the maze, it's, you have to, there's obstacles in the maze. In the movie, I feel like the maze is the obstacle, and that's not how it is in the book. So, after the whole conversation, Crumb wants to talk to Harry and just figure out about Hermione. And so they're talking about Hermione. And then they see Crouch. And Crouch is crazy, not understanding anything. And he's rambling. So, Harry tells Crumb to stay with him so he can get Dumbledore. He runs up, and I think he runs into Snape and Mad Eye and them, and he gets to Dumbledore. He tells them, but when they get there, when everyone gets to where Harry was telling them to go, Crumb is on the ground, obviously got hurt, and Crouch is not there. Okay. Day of the third trial, the maze, the parent family gets to come to see the people to see how Snape tells Harry that Harry gets in trouble in Snape's room. They get separated. Harry has to sit by Snape. That's when Snape accuses him of stealing the stuff. I know in the movie he does it some other way. So, family gets to come to the third tournament. They get to see, they get to spend the day with their, the people in the tournament. Harry's like, oh no, my family's not coming. But Bill and Molly came. Bill, the oldest son. So they came and got to see them and go around the school. Like, he got to show them things, the fat lady, everything. And I mean, they of course have seen it, so they knew, and they were like, oh, we could see this, or is this still here? Okay. So, in the maze, as I said, there are actually obstacles in the maze. The maze was not the obstacle. One thing they do wrong here, and this is like a kind of a big deal. So, Mad Eye says part of the reason it's hard to know who is bad and who is good is that, like, when the whole trials were going on for who helped Voldemort, part of the reason it was hard is because you don't know who was under the Imperious Curse, where they were being forced, like they were being controlled, and you don't know who was actually doing it in their own volition, because there's no way to tell. Which, why they didn't give them the serum that makes them tell the truth is beyond me. But anyways, because in the maze, Crumb is under the Imperious spell, and for some reason they give him glazed eyes, which would just mean if they had glazed eyes, that meant they were under the Imperious Curse, or maybe it was just at the time, but either way, they shouldn't have given them glazed eyes. Okay. So, they touch the port key, or they touch the trophy. It was not supposed to be a port key. I think once they touched it, they were supposed to show this thing in the air. It was not supposed to teleport them to Hogwarts. So they get teleported to the grave site. So the book gets more into what's his name? Voldemort's explanation of how he survived all those years. He was put into the tiny something. He kept putting himself into rats. Then he finally put himself into a person when that first book happened, but then died. Then Peter Pettigrew came. And then he was about to have to use Peter Pettigrew's body and get rid of him. But then they found Bertha Bertha Jorkins. And they used her body to keep him alive for a while longer. And they tortured her for information. That's how he knew about what to do for the game in the beginning. Why am I blanking? The Quidditch World Cup and everything. And that's how they made their plan, because of Bertha Jorkins. He, explains his entire journey so much better. So while they're fighting, Harry and Voldemort are fighting, you hear a Phoenix song, which later is explained because both their... So they have twin wands. Both their wands also came from the same phoenix feathers. You get 2 feathers per phoenix to make a wand. Or the phoenix can give 2 feathers and they go to wands, and it was the twin. Exactly. It came from the same phoenix. It also came from Dumbledore's phoenix. Okay. So, after they finally, the duel all happens and everything, they get back. So, Barty Crouch, so you find out Mad-Eye Moody's Barty Crouch Jr. He explains his whole story of how he survived and his entire life. He lived in So, after getting sent to Azkaban, his mom was dying, so the dad, as a last request to his wife, saved his son. They took potions, they switched places, and everything, but then Crouch made Barty Crouch Jr. stay under an invisibility cloak all the time, so at the Triumph Wizard tournament, it was Harry, he stole Harry's wand while he was talking to Winky. Because he was next to Winky under an invisibility cloak. They explain how, I don't remember, someone found out, I don't know if it was Bertha Jorkins, about Barty Crouch Jr. It explains his entire backstory and makes everything make sense. And so the whole reason they did what's his name? Neville finding the thing in the movie is because he did give him that book. He was hoping Neville would give him the clue, but when Neville didn't, that's when he made sure Dobby heard, because he knew Dobby was friends with, because he knew Dobby was friends with Harry because Ron gave him the sweater. It explains his entire backstory of how he did this. Also his fate, he ended up getting, I don't know if it was, someone comes. Who's the head guy? I'm trying to blank on his name. The Minister of Magic comes with the mentors. They give him the kiss. So, in the hospital, Snape, so Sirius comes, he's the dog, and he stays in the hospital with Harry until they find out, the Ministry is refusing to help him, and Dumbledore get in a huge fight, and they're like, we're not working together anymore. Snape is there, and Sirius, they meet. you find out Sirius is, I feel like you find out then Sirius is part of the Order, but I know they have this whole Sirius is part of the Order in the 5th book, so I don't know. You find out he's part of the good guys, and that he finds out Sirius. They decide to at least be somewhat nice to each other, as in they'll tolerate. Okay. So then, at the end of the movie, so you don't see them leaving Hogwarts and everything, which is in the books. But at the end of the movie, this bothers me that they do this to Ron. He, like, goes, so Hermione's like, write to me all the time. And he goes, you know I won't do that. They did. They're, like, together almost all summer. But they were writing to each other. So, like, they just paint Ron so mean. He wasn't. Like, they obviously show they like each other earlier in the books than you notice in the movies. So, I have light as a note, but I don't know what that one's about. So, leaving, they ride the train. It's, like, awkward, but, they're trying to, like, Harry is trying to, like, work through everything and such. But anyways, so leaving the train, Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle go to attack Harry, Ron, Hermione, and they all, like, hit them with different spells. And so do the twins. They come. So they, like, change into, like, really crazy things. And then they find out about how the twins lost all their money and the bet and everything. Oh, I think I forgot to mention that. Because they had heard that they might blackmail someone. And they were trying to figure out who. They explained how they lost the money and everything. And Harry decides, so he won 1,000 galleons. That was the big prize if he won the tournament. He kept trying to give the money to everybody. Like, tried to give it to Cedric's parents. He tried to give it to so many people. Finally, he gives it to the twins. And he's like, use it for your joke shop. And that is a lot of the differences from book to movie of the 4th one. I'm trying to think of what it's called. So this was super long, and it's funny because the Goblet of Fire, I was regretting getting to the 5th one, but this is like an hour plus long video. And sorry it took so long, and I know I'm doing it different outfits. I was recording, too tired, couldn't finish it, stopped it. And then next day I never had time. And now it's going to be a while before it comes out just because we got a bunch of snow. And my service is so bad I cannot download it unless it's going to take like 3 days to download. So I have to wait till like the snow's gone or something so I can download this video onto YouTube. But I will be back with more videos. Obviously, I will come back and do the Harry Potter 5th book once I finish it. I just started it tonight, but I'm also in the middle of 2 other books. And usually I only stick to 2 books at a time. So we will see when I get to it. I will do it this month for sure, though. I will at least finish the video this month. I might not get, or I will at least finish the book this month. I might not get to the video because it's gonna be even longer than this one, I think. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a nice night or day or whatever time you're watching this.